Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Today's show is presented by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety provider to keep you secure and safe online. Get a 14-day free trial today at aura.com/chatsports. That link will be in the comments and in the description. All right, on today's show, I thought we would do a little bit of a different type of segment. 4 ideal moves for the Mavs to make between now and training camp. Obviously, training camp still a couple months away. I think mid-late September is when that gets here before the preseason gets going in October. But these are kind of some moves based on some of the rumors that have been out there and just things that I think could help this basketball team. The number one move is to pull off a sign and trade for Collin Sexton. And obviously he's a restricted free agent, so in theory a team could sign him, but A, the Cavs can match, and B, in Dallas's case, they actually can't just go out and sign him unless it's a vet minimum deal, which obviously he's not going to take that. Recent reports suggest that he would not accept a 3-year, $40 million deal from Cleveland. No traction there, so I don't know. I still am holding out some hope that he could end up in Dallas. I don't think it's a great chance, but I do think it's a chance, especially if he goes to Cavs brass and is like, look, if you don't sign and trade me, or if you don't give me an offer I want, I'm just going to play on the qualifying offer and be unrestricted next year. That would leave the Cavs with nothing. But if he goes to him and is like, hey, like Dallas really wants me, they'll trade you a couple of pieces, then maybe that could be in the works. I like Collin Sexton. I think he's really, really underrated. I mean, the last 2 full seasons he's played in, he's basically been a 20 to 25-point scorer. He's always been a good three-point shooter in his career. The last full season he played, he was starting to improve as a playmaker as well, with almost 4.5 assists per game. This is the ideal Jalen Brunson replacement. You get him in here, Spencer Dinwiddie slides back to the bench, or Sexton comes off the bench as a prep playmaker. I don't really care which. I think they can both bring different things. And then losing Brunson isn't nearly as big of a deal because you've replaced him with Sexton, and you've gotten better in the front court with JaVale McGee and Christian Wood. If you could find a way to get Collin Sexton, I think you would be feeling so good about where this basketball team sits right now. Now, Chris Fedor tweeted this out, saying, hard to find a logical sign and trade for the Cavs. Collin Sexton involving the Mavs, Jazz, Heat, or other interested teams, especially with the base year compensation complications, plus Cavs roster crunch, salary cap situation, and desire to avoid tax while keeping space next summer. So that is a bit of a challenge to get Sexton. Maybe a third team gets involved and you unload a salary there while sending, the Cavs and maybe that other team a pick as well. The Mavs have contracts they can move. Dwight Powell, 1 year left on his deal. Tim Hardaway in kind of that $16 to $18 million per year range. That is a tradable contract. Spencer Dinwiddie, although I don't think you would trade him in a Collin Sexton deal because you want another playmaker. You don't want to lose one to get one. Davis Bertans, Reggie Bullock. You've got guys you can move if you want to go out and get a guy like Sexton. Maybe a third team has to get involved, but I would be willing to part with one or maybe 2 of these players to get Collin Sexton. I'd dump Josh Green as well, by the way, if that is what it took. You also have the 2025 first-round pick and 2027. The point being here is if you can get Collin Sexton on board, the trio of Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Collin Sexton as your playmakers, that's pretty darn good if you are the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll see if it's able to happen. As long as Sexton remains out there, I wouldn't rule anything out. Should the Mavs trade for Collin Sexton? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Pen comment on today's show so you guys can reply right there. T for trade, or give me a P for pass. Next up on our ideal moves to make for the Dallas Mavericks, trade Dwight Powell. I think the Dwight Powell era, maybe it's not over, but maybe it should be. Kind of feel like it should be. I think the playoff run was pretty brutal for him. Obviously, you look at this front court. JaVale McGee being in the mix here as well, by the way. But Maxi Kleber, Davis Bertans, Christian Wood, Bertans, different type of player, obviously. But with McGee and Wood and Kleber, at best, Powell is your fourth best pure big, right? So that's 10 to 12 minutes a game. If you can dump his salary, especially if that could help you land a guy like Collin Sexton, I think that makes sense. I think it probably makes sense for him as well to kind of restart with a new team at this point. He's done some good things here. He's been a good player for Dallas, but I think we've seen the best for Dwight Powell. Sure, in a limited role, he can be used, but if you can unload him in a trade, I think that would be a good thing. Now, in the regular season, I thought he played pretty well, especially down the stretch, but in the playoffs, he just got exposed. I mean, against really good bigs, he couldn't be out there. He'd basically start games, play about 3 minutes, check out, start the second half, 3-4 minutes, check out, and that would be it. So I don't think keeping him long-term really makes sense. Only has 1 year left anyway, so if you can get anything for him or have him help you facilitate a trade, I think that makes sense. It's been a good run. He's been here for, 8 years now, Coop, since the Rondo trade? I mean, it's been a run for Dwight Powell in Dallas. That's why we call it the Dwight Powell trade in these parts here for the Mavericks. All right, we'll get to our next move to make here in just a moment. A move you should make right now is getting going with Aura. So 5 moves for you guys to make, including signing up with Aura. Here's the deal. Online digital safety provider. We do more online than ever before. Shopping, banking, transactions, social media, email, it's all online. It's all on your phone. And the thing is, the more we do online, the more prevalent hackers become. That is just the reality. It's a give and take with online abilities these days. So you need a digital safety provider to protect you, and Aura is able to do that. Financial fraud protection, ID theft protection. Stay safe. Family plans up to 5 people. Aura.com/chatsports will offer you a 14-day free trial. And then I'm pretty confident you'll keep it going after that because it's that good of a deal. Check the comments, check the description. Get going today with Aura. All right, a couple more here. Number 3, if you're not going to trade him, you got to develop Josh Green. You got to find a way for him to give you some minutes consistently in this rotation. Now, Josh Green recently had this to say via the Morning News. Quote, me and my trainer sat down, with Nico Harrison, the GM. We had a plan put into place on what we need to do. I changed my body a little bit, really looking at what I'm eating, just a lot of specific things going into one thing, but making sure I'm able to have a great year next year. It's been a lot of stuff. It's been a long 2 months, but it's been fun. Shooting has been a big focus for me this offseason, trying not to do the stanky leg no more on my right side. That's just been building up my core strength, and changing my shot a little bit, and I've seen it be a little more consistent, but I'm really just going in ready to go. I wish training camp started tomorrow. I'm ready to play. Talk is great, but actions speak louder than words, right? Josh Green certainly made some strides last year, but he's a hole offensively right now. I mean, you look back at that Jazz series, you're playing 4-on-5 on offense when he's out there. They just give him the corner 3 because teams don't respect that he can knock it down. If he can become a good three-point shooter, he will have a role in this league and on this team for a long time because he is a good defender and can guard multiple positions. But if you can't shoot the ball consistently, come playoff time, the big games, crunch time, you can't have him on the floor. It's as simple as that. Subscribe to the channel here, Mavericks Today, for more Dallas Mavericks news and rumors. Mavs still have an open roster spot, so at some point a move will likely come, and when it does, we'll have you covered. So go ahead and subscribe right now, youtube.com/MavsTV. Hit that subscribe button for the latest Dallas Mavericks news and rumors. You look at Josh Green's numbers from last year, certainly an uptick, and look, the shooting splits on paper, you're like, okay, but a couple of things. 1, didn't take a bunch of threes, and 2, playoff 3-point percentage, 22.7% from 3. That's not nearly good enough for a guy that was in the first round a couple of years ago. He's got to at least shoot this in the postseason well, 36% from 3. If he could be a real 36% 3-point shooter consistently, then I think we'd feel a lot better about him and his development. If you still believe in Josh Green and think he can develop, spam 8 down in the comments. He took a step last year, but can he take a real step this year? I mean, I kind of look back at like Jay Crowder, right? It took him a while to get going, and he's been a key rotation player in the NBA for about a decade now. So maybe Josh Green can become that. Spam 8 down below if you are a Josh Green stan. All right, number 4, figure out the starting 5. It sounds like we know what the opening night starting 5 is going to be after Jason Kidd said that Spencer Dinwiddie and JaVale McGee will start. Maybe the question is really figure out your best 5, right? Like which 5 are going to play together the most, going to play together in crunch time. This is the projected lineup as of now. Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie in the backcourt with Finney-Smith, Bullock on the wing, and then JaVale McGee playing the 5. But I think there's a real argument to be had that this group of 5 right here is the group you're going to want out there in crunch time. And I would argue maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. as a sixth starter if he's having a good night. Maybe he subs in for, Bullock or Dinwiddie, depending on that specific game. But the good news is you got about 7 guys who can start, but it's up to Jason Kidd to figure out the rotations. I don't think you have to have the same starting 5 night in and night out, by the way. I think it could be very matchup dependent, because I think against certain teams, starting Wood at the 5 is going to make a lot of sense at the end of the day. But the overarching point is McGee might start, but Christian Wood's going to have a bigger role. I think McGee will probably play in that 18 to 22 minutes per game, maybe up to 25. Christian Wood will probably play 25 to 30. There will probably be some minutes where they play together, actually, where Christian Wood plays at the 4 too. So don't be surprised if that happens. So don't overreact if Javale McGee starts for this team. Doesn't mean he's going to have a bigger role. All right, there you go. 4 things that the Mavs should do, some things to keep in mind as we progress in the offseason. Now it's up to you guys. Tell us a move you want the Dallas Mavericks to make this offseason. I want to hear it right now in the comments. And we'll see you next time on Mavericks Today.